Hey everybody, Cooper here at etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Konig XG12 Pro self-tensioning tire chains on our 2022 Mazda CX-9 using tire size P255/50R20. Now, reading over the Mazda owner manual before we were looking into these tire chains, we did discover that there are two different tire sizes offered for the CX-9. Now, the owner's manual only recommended tire chains to be used on our other size, so if you do live in an area of high snow and ice, we would recommend maybe looking into swapping out your tires. However, we did discover that the tire chains do fit on this tire size here today, but either way, the owner's manual does instruct us to use them on our front axle. Taking a little bit closer look at our chain, we can see that our links are going to be made out of a manganese nickel alloy, meaning that they're just going to be very corrosion resistant and be able to stand up to multiple years of uses across those weather conditions. They do lay out in a sort of diamond pattern across our wheel, which just means that's really going to help us bust up that ice and snow and help us with our side-to-side driving, but not really as much of our start and stopping. They even have these square plates here that you can kind of see under our wheel well on top of our tire that really just help bust that snow and ice up additionally. Now, our inner chain is made of a little bit of different color you might see. That is because this is extra coated in a powder coating that is going to just help with that rim contact that this inner chain might be making, just to help protect your chain from any additional damage. Taking a look towards the bottom, we can see where our tensioning hook meets our tensioning arm, and they keep together throughout our ride, meaning that they're going to keep constant tension on our tire chain, which really helps throughout our drive, meaning that we're not going to have to get out at any point, come and check to make sure that there is that tension still being kept on it, which is just a nice additional feature about these chains. Our chains are going to come two to a set, one for each side of the axle, in this really nice kind of hard plastic case. The only thing that I have to gripe about the case is that there's no divider for the chains, so there's a higher chance that they might end up being tangled together. But I think that this is more than perfectly fine to throw in the trunk of your car and kind of set it and forget about it until you need these chains. The only thing I would recommend is maybe picking up a pair of gloves in case you find yourself installing this in the snow and ice, out in those elements. That way you have them and you can't forget about them. Speaking of that, we do recommend that you kind of dry run this in your garage maybe a couple of times, so that way you can get a use for the installation process of these tire chains. So if you do find yourself out in those elements installing these, it's kind of more muscle memory at that point than trying to figure it out for the first time. Something that I think really helps set these tire chains apart is the ease of installation. The fact that we don't really need to find ourselves making connection points under or behind our tire makes them really easy to install and frustration-free in my opinion. They are definitely amongst some of the top tire chains that I would recommend for this, especially because they do meet that SAE Class S certification for cars that have that limited wheel well clearance. And we'll show you what that looks like right now. Now, to begin our install process, we're going to want to take our tire chain out of its container and lay it here next to our tire. We're going to make sure that it's facing the correct direction and that we have it split pretty evenly between both sides of the tire. The best way to make sure that your chains are facing the correct direction is to take one of the eyelets and notice that there is a flat side and a side with the hooks. We want the side with the hooks facing down towards the ground because this flat side is going to be the side making contact with our tire. And we can double check by coming down to our self-tensioning device and noticing that it does have the Konig logo on it and that is facing down as well. Now you can take the tire chain and feed it around either side. I typically like to use the side with the catch just because there is less on this side of the tire chain, so there's less to get caught on our tire. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of push it all together, feed it around our tire, and pull it around. Now once we know that we have everything on the correct sides around our tires, we can go ahead and grab the outer parts of it and feed it up through our wheel well here, noticing that there is a catch on one side and this stud on the other, and that they do just fit right into place together and have that secure connection. Now with our chains draped over our tire, we're going to make all our connections. The first one is going to be the hook on our one side and the loose chain on the other. Thankfully they are both red to kind of help give you that connection visually. And then that's going to be our first connection point. Our second connection, we're actually going to come down to the bottom and feed our self-tensioning cable through that catch that we saw earlier. And then tighten this down as tight as it will go. And then we can actually pull this hook back towards our third and final connection point, which is a self-tensioning device that comes out. And we want to make sure that we have that hook side facing away from our tire, just so we're not making any additional rim contact that we don't need to. With this chain installed, we are going to go ahead and replicate all the steps we saw here on the other side of our vehicle. Then with both chains on, just roll forward or backwards a couple of times, make sure that everything's settled into place nicely, and then we'll be all good to go. Overall, I do think that the Konig XG12 Pro tire chains are some really great tire chains. If I had to pick out 3 things that are probably my favorite about them, is definitely their ease of installation. The fact that they are made of that manganese nickel alloy, meaning that they're going to be able to stand up to years and years of that use that you're going to get out of them during the season. And the low profile chain means that they're going to be able to fit on our vehicle with that lower profile clearance, like our 2022 Mazda CX-9. And we saw them here at etrailer. Thanks for watching.